All right, was that cool, everybody? All right, there's so much more to see at the lab too. So after our panel, we're going to welcome any of you who'd like to go on a full tour of the entire space. So that's going to be great. So we're going to have a great discussion here from these great technology and content producer folks, really digging into what's actually happening. So, and I'm going to encourage everyone not to just use generic AI, but to talk about the specifics about AI. But these folks are key players right now, really, in this game. So we're going to have a good discussion. You're going to learn about what they're up to, and then if we have time, we'll do some questions, okay? Cool with everybody? Everybody's happy? All right. I always say that to my kid, are you happy? And she's like, what? That's how you guys work. Is everybody happy? That's good. Yeah, I'm used to being ignored. My ex-husband is here, so he knows what I mean. True story, true story. Okay. All right, so we're going to go down the path here and let everyone introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the role they play in the world. So let's start with you, Dan.
Hi, thank you.
Okay, let's turn you on. I mean, just my part. Okay, good.
Hi, folks. My name is Dane. How are you today? Very nice to be here. Thank you very much, Lori, for inviting me. I really appreciate you involving me in these things. I'm a producer, and I create content for film and television. I founded an AI company because there's a drought of work in my profession right now, and I'm on my third project. This is the year anniversary. It's my birthday last year. I just decided to start taking some courses, and I have about 200 credits, delivering 10 folds for film and television. And I built a career on finding emerging technology. I'm not an insider. I didn't graduate from film school. I'm from a suburb of Toronto, Canada. I don't know anyone. I'm not connected. I go out into the field and find technology, and then field test it, develop it, fund it, and bring it into the mainstream. Rinse, repeat. And I'm having the time of my life, and I think we're about to enter a second golden era.
Excellent. And Dane, the other role that you're playing in life is the Infinity Festival. Do you want to just sum that up?
Which is the reason we're here and the founding core of all of this. And Mark and Adam founded this festival based on the idea that, the way that I met them, I was a producer. I had to take my content to Salt Lake City or Cannes or London to sell it, to find a market. We created all here. There's a transactional apparatus here. Why don't we have such a facility in Los Angeles? And through various iterations, it generally became what it is today, the Infinity Festival, which is Silicon Beach, and we have all the resources we need here in spades. We're entering year 7. I'm taking care of the Monolith Awards, and what I did was take the core professions that will never be rewarded from traditional societies and guilds, Visual Effects Society, Producers Guild. Because of the nature of technology, it progresses at a rate more quickly than these guilds can sort of categorize it and come up with a nameplate and brand it. There's also other legacy issues. So it started with 3 pillars: virtual art department, VAD, real time, and pre-visualization, which sound new if you're not an M&E, but the truth is I know people in their 50s that are going to retire. I know people that are entering this field, and they'll go without an award. So it started with those 3, and it's expanded into something insane. There's only a few tickets left. You should definitely head over there, and I strongly recommend Friday night. There's going to be a live world release of a full AI created piece for the event, but also all the luminaries. Everyone said yes to me. Really heavily networked. All the big people said yes because they're not busy right now. They're all going to be presenting their best work and judging. It's going to be a great evening. The festival itself is the best networking opportunity in Los Angeles.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Well, let's go over to Kimberly. Oh yeah, can you pass the mic? Sorry. Kimberly is representing HP as a sponsor of Infinity, but also HP as a company is one of the power brokers, I think, right now on what's happening in Hollywood. So Kimberly, tell us what you do.
So I feel like we're all friends now, so...
But everyone has to Elvis the mic a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry. So my name's Kim Sanderson, and I work on a lot of entertainment accounts accounts for HP, just the really heavy workload accounts from anywhere. I do a specialty in gaming and shockingly enough rockets. So I work on all of the aerospace accounts, gaming accounts, and then a lot of traditional media and entertainment accounts.
Great. All right, great. Well, and we're gonna dig in deep to what you're doing there. Let's go over to Jason, who's at a company I think I've heard of called NVIDIA.
Small startup. Feels like a startup every day. So I am a Jason Schugardt, solutions architect for media entertainment. I also cover ProViz, meaning graphics cards. So on a day-to-day, I connect with the customers and reach in to connect them with the smart folks inside of NVIDIA or other partners to help solve their problems and see them through to success. I come from a visual effects background, so I spent 25 years in the industry as a visual effects supervisor, being on set, starting from small shops to large shops, and saw, for me, my awareness of GenAI started around 2017, 2018, where the tools got better and better and better, and I joined NVIDIA just about 2 years ago.
Excellent. And Scott, you kind of introduced yourself before, but let's hear a little bit more.
Yeah, hey, Scott Connolly, head of media technology. I think you all heard everything from me for now, but we can come back.
And Scott, but just say your background though, because
Sure. So I ran, previous to joining Verizon, I ran an emerging technology company called the Astronauts Guild that I founded in 2009. And so I've been in the media and entertainment space actually about 25 years now, always involved in new tech and emerging technologies. Spent a long time chasing trends, right? Understanding trends, knowing where the technology was going to come through. I've done always in the space of the most emerging tech, whether that be 3D, VR, and then we got into super resolution for a long time. So I did actually a ton of the development of the Sphere in Vegas from 16 to 19. I built all the large camera arrays to capture all the footage for that when we were originally introducing that. And we built up and eventually ended up joining Verizon in 21.
Excellent. All right, so I want to dig a little deeper into what the role that each of you have in this pipeline that is now media and entertainment. It's all about technology in many ways, but of course storytelling at its key. But let's talk about NVIDIA first, Jason, because honestly, NVIDIA is kind of the pretty girl at the party right now for media and entertainment.
You see that to all the
yeah, exactly. So I'm curious. I, of course, years ago knew NVIDIA as the gaming card company. Like, not that I was a gamer, but that was how I knew of NVIDIA. So how did you go from that to being, GPU everything? Jensen's like a superhero right now. I mean, it's
transforming into an AI company.
Transforming into an AI company. Yeah, give us just a sense of how that happened.
So I'd say in the same way. Most people know NVIDIA as a graphics card company. I play games, so if you play video games, you're most likely will know about NVIDIA. It actually, people weren't really aware. A lot of people weren't aware of NVIDIA until just a few years ago. When this AI boom happened, but it's actually been a very long process for NVIDIA. It's something that started for them, for us, back in 2012. Back in 2012, before that really, it was CUDA, right? So 2006 was CUDA, which was a acceleration libraries you can run that will accelerate math processes, right? And it wasn't until Alex Shizevsky, Ilya Sutskever, you might know that name, and Jeffrey Hinton, who was overseeing the project, and he's the godfather of AI. Every year there's a contest in that time for ImageNet to be able to detect if there was a cat, and they did a couple acceleration things, so some innovative things using GPUs, where it was parallel processing across multiple GPUs to be able to run a CNN. And what that meant is not one network can be run over multiple GPUs. And now you can see where that expands to all the way where I think it was last month or the month before, Colossus was born. Elon Musk's huge 10,000 GPU, 100,000 GPU render farm. They have, and then we stood that up in 19 days. So that's it's a massive farm. Be able to train across all of those GPUs on the world's data inside those GPUs to make these large language models.
And so, and for people like me that aren't programmers, the way that I'm wrapping my head around it is we went from a CPU world to a GPU world. So, and so that's for average normal people, not normal, I'm not saying you're not normal. No, for regular people now, the question is, what kind of GPUs?
Yeah, so CPUs were general processors, so they would handle, for the longest time, they handle all the processes on a computer. For anything that was coming through, it would be handled by a CPU. GPU is a very special processor that handles graphics. That was in 1993 when Jensen's first product, right, was to accelerate graphics, and we are now extensively a acceleration company through and through. So not only do we accelerate graphics, we focus on workflows. And so if we're accelerating graphics as well as accelerating processing of tokens, right, for LLMs. So and we want to accelerate any type of workflow that you have, data processing and all that. So yes.
Part of everything. All right, so let's talk about HP for a second, Kimberly, because how many of you have an HP product in your house, maybe, or something? And so you can think of them as like, maybe it's your printer, maybe it is your computer, but there's so much going on with HP that's bigger than any of us have thought about, because you really are a power player in this pipeline. So can you tell us how you're playing in AI and integrating what NVIDIA is doing?
Yeah, so actually, HP has been putting out AI workstations for the last 10 years. And we have been working with NVIDIA and partnering. So when you look at AI on the GPU, we've been doing that for 10 years. AI recently has been kind of redefined ever since the NPU. So when you talk about ChatGPT, you talk about just all of it, it's really coming forward where everyone knows it now, but that's on the NPU side. So how HP is responding to it is we're actually having to build machines that are faster, more memory, they're better, there's more power, and we're partnering with NVIDIA, for instance, to make all these things happen.
And so you're literally helping your clients get on the AI path, right? In many ways.
Yeah, no, our clients have been on the AI path, but there's such an increase in it. A lot of the software has always been done for AI, generally on these workstations. And we are coming out with new products for the NPU side, but the GPU side is just getting bigger and stronger.
It's crazy how powerful these machines are. So I want to go back to you, Scott, because you and I have had this conversation a few times, and you guys may feel this way. You may feel exactly the same way. There's a tension right now between the creatives, the storytellers, and the technologists, right? Now, Infinity Festival is actually born off of that concept. Let's bring story and tech together. And I know you and I have talked about this, like you experienced this, so can you share a little bit about your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really interesting, and being through this, I kind of feel like I'm going through this for the second time. So I started in this industry, in 1999, I guess it was, early 2000, was really the start of beginning to be a young filmmaker. And around that same time was the introduction of the first 24p camera. I don't know if anybody else remembers the DVX100, but it was this revolutionary kind of space where, and I still have mine, and I got the very first one in California. I stocked the Panasonic rep and got mine first, right? But because it was this massive revolution in the creative capability, right? But everybody else in the industry was totally fearful of this. It was amazing to talk to folks that had been in the industry for a long time, because they were scared because they couldn't, normally a camera would cost $150,000, $200,000. It was something you rented. It was something that you saved up for. Even at that time too, DaVinci Resolve was something that you spent thousands of dollars to rent, and you'd go to a special room and use it, and and then it became free. But out of that change and that fear and everything that there was this magnificent digital revolution, and because the creator became empowered. And I really see that now, most interestingly here with AI, right? There's never been a time where the creative has more power than they do now. Now, for me, coming through the industry, I was one that wanted to be a producer in the beginning, but really decided that I was gonna produce, but also learn all the other tools on the set. I think that those are the areas that we're gonna start to see new tools come in to help creators' content. But I find it really interesting that a director can now sit down at a keyboard and create an entire feature film entirely out of their mind from just their vision. And I'll be really interested to see, I always say it's the 12-year-old's going to produce the next AI feature soon, right? And how amazing that will be just to see something purely artistic and creative from that space.
And just because we are here at the lab, and one of the big stories here is private 5G, do you think that storytellers are going to come up to you and say, I want to learn how private 5G is going to help me make my movie? I mean, is it going to finally get to the point where the storyteller is going to ask you the tech stuff?
So from Verizon's perspective, where we think that we can fit within this space is really building tools within that. Inherently, when we start to do even the demo that you saw me build next door, is a really great example. If you were to shoot a movie on content created on a public cloud, for the most part, you're training the next model of that AI, right? And that, especially for the enterprise, for the studios, we believe that causes some problems within that idea, especially if you were to spend every day for several months, generating new AI. We could train, a model that's the best to build your exact, IP that you've been building on it, and then, a young content creator could get access to that same model and build a fan film, right? So what we can offer with the private networks, especially within that space, is the real capability to bring these models and port them over into a new ecosystem that can be available for the creator to use in an entirely private manner. And we're looking, investigating how we might make these models more affordable for creators, how we might be able to make them available on an as-a-service model, so that you can use them to create content for a short amount of time and keep the costs lower, and also meaning that they come out to the event or the set or in a way that is ready to just be powered on, to be used in this way, and then button it up and send it back when you're done with it. And to that point, the model that you trained, hopefully we can repackage that up so that you can deploy it again for your sequel.
So in that sense, you're telling the creator, here's the case study, and so they'll be excited to learn it because it's going to help them do their thing. So Dane, let's pop over to you.
Yes.
And I'll give you the mic, or here comes Mike. So one of the things we were talking about, all the entries for the Infinity Festival, because it's this wonderful moment in time for you where you're really seeing everything.
Yeah.
And I said to you, well, is there a lot of AI? And so you sort of gave me the perspective of what you've seen with all these entries. Can you share that with everybody? Because I think it's a nice microcosm of what's going on out there.
It is. It's a really nice sign of what's happening in the community. I mean, the festival hasn't been going long enough that it's a household name. So in reaching out to different pockets around the globe, and I impaneled 22 of the smartest people that I know, and purposely went to the head of music strategy at Paramount, who got Florence on the Machine to record a No Doubt track, and got Yellowjack's greenlit. I want to know what she thinks, and then ultimately took an expert in each field to award the final prize. And we're dedicating 2 prizes to AI, still splitting tech and art, although that was a vote that I lost. I don't distinguish between the two any longer. I did for a long time. I think you need equal parts to succeed today, and I don't think it's as challenging as most people believe, but I really implore everyone to attend the festival, watch us online, whatever your involvement may be, talk to Lori and I, because I think we're going to have some of the pioneers and some of the voices that we're going to be hearing more and more from with a lot of effort.
And one of the things you told me was that not everything that came to you was like titled AI blah blah,
Right.
but that AI touched something.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about, so I just want to clear the air on two subjects, like the anti-AI, AI, you mentioned tech, and someone else being posted on it.
Right, you can try.
I think that if you pull the lens back, what we look at is, let's look at the Avengers Endgame, where Josh Brolin's performance inhabited a digital character that was empowered by artificial intelligence, and we all went gaga, and fanboys couldn't say enough good about it, and then we had Jungle Book, where Christopher Walken, who looks like a toothpick, is being represented as an orangutan, and you can tell it's Christopher Walken. That's artificial intelligence, which, by the way, has been used to create imagery that we've been paying for since the 50s. So there's nothing new here. It's progression. We were cheering for it. And then we had three cataclysmic events. One was the complete collapse of the business model of the 6 studios that are primarily, or were primarily, driving the economy, because no one went to the cinema anymore. I'm not going to spend an hour going down the road of why it's. If you email me, I'll send you documents to prove it. It happened. That money's gone. And when your entire enterprise is choked, there's a reaction. DVDs collapse, physical media, and now you look at a world a very short time later where long form, going to the ArcLight at 8 o'clock and parking is just not even available. It's a novelty. So where's the audience? It's the same inflection point we had in 1969, which ushered in Coppola, Scorsese, and not that the studios wanted to give money to Michael Cimino to make Heaven's Gate. They had to, because they were making Hello Dolly for millions, and no one showed up. They're all at this movie about motorcycles shot in the Venice Canals called Easy Rider. So they have to empower creatives. And whoever just said that creatives have never been in a more powerful position, I 100% agree with this. A slingshot being pulled back, and a lot of people are just looking at the rubber band. We're about to launch. And the other factor that happened was COVID. I happened to be at a C-suite position at a visualization company, and had just figured out how we were going to lose money on The Mandalorian so that we could get that contract. And the world beat a path to our door, because that was the only way that you could create content. The mayor came on a television set and told us all to go home. I thought that was it. But it wasn't. It was just the beginning. It was followed by the biggest surge of demand ever, and led into the drought we're in today. And what happened in that period is everyone was sequestered at home, and they got hooked on Rings of Power and WandaVision and very high quality. And there's only so much I can divulge, but C-suite means I'm looking at the money. And I know what they spent to make the features, and I know what they made, and I know what they spent to create streaming content. There's no way you're going to get back at $9 a piece or on a free app that comes along with your cell phone. There's just no return on investment. So why is the largest entertainment company doing that? They're buying loyalty. They're building a marketplace. They're buying your loyalty. And now that the dust is settled and the labor disputes are at least on ice for the time being, and we're ready to go back to work, the reason the big players aren't greenlighting properties, and the reason Lionsgate is letting Runway let their bots run through the library and create content, and the reason there's so many things happening that haven't broken the market yet that are going to lead the next wave is because they know something. They know there's no way they can squeeze a return on investment out of the market. They've proved it the last 3 years. They put out the best content, got the giant market share. They've looked at their numbers and yelled at their producers, and they can only get the cost per minute so low. What does that turn into? The negative economy, the negative market pickup economy, which means if I go out and film a puppet show for $10 and walk into the studio, they have an empty shop. I have a much bigger chance of getting them to distribute it. And then I have a much bigger chance of legacy. There's nothing worse for a producer than getting your project into that room where there's 8 people who have never made a film telling you what you're doing wrong. And then people asking you, why didn't that work out? Well, it was set up to fail.
All right, bring us home.
I'm bringing it home very quickly. So if you're pitching today, you're pitching to someone who has an empty shelf. You're pitching to someone who can't possibly take that position. And when you go to market, you're not competing with them because the shelves are there. So you're going to get an outsized response, which triggers investment. So what I'm doing right now and what I implore everyone to do is prepare for that, because it's coming.
And I want to go back to you guys who have the tools that are allowing creators to make the stuff that we're setting up for. So Kimberly, we talked a little bit about this. Do you mind passing me? And don't give it back to him until I tell you it's okay. No, but thank you for setting that up for us, because it does set up the creator discussion how are you empowering your clients? Like, are they asking, give us something for AI? Like, what's that thing happening right now?
So when you look at media and entertainment, you're looking at people aren't competing with movies against another movie. You're competing how people spend their time, right? So whether it's gaming, whether it's my 70-year-old mom playing Candy Crush, you know, we have a lot of gamers now. We have a lot of ways, how do people spend their time? And what we're finding with AI and a lot of my customers and a lot of big companies is they are using AI because people have, each generation, they have a slower attention span. It's shorter. You know, TikToks are like 15 seconds and they move on to the next. So everybody wants quick, fast content. And with that, to stay on top, all of our customers, all of our storytellers, our media and entertainment people have to push out content faster. They have to make it more interesting, and that's where you do lean on AI. Because if you do that, what you're doing is you're getting content out faster, quicker, better, and it's really amazing because they're taking those tasks, you know, the basic B stuff they don't want to do, right? And they're really focusing on the heart of the game or the heart of the movie, and they can spend their time being creators doing the stuff they want to do, you know, that human connection, like, and basically pushing out a better product. So that's what we're saying.
So are the clients saying to you, give us the strongest, most powerful thing ever kind of thing? Or
you'd be shocked the kind of configs we've come out with, the demand. We have demands for 8 terabyte. We have demands for 3 terabytes for a workstation. You're seeing designers wanting 100 threads per minute. Whoever thought that that would be the case? And they're using it, and then they're asking for more. So
that's crazy. So let's pop over to Jason, because you guys have this Inception program, which speaks to also how you guys are sort of open to working with everyone. Can you tell this crowd about the Inception program? Because we have startups here, so I think that'll be
Yeah, I think one of my favorite aspects of working in NVIDIA is in part to the Inception program, because we get to see, it's a program we're sitting on the top of a hill and we're seeing into the valley of all these new startups that are coming in to fruition. So any company that's less than 10 years old can join up join up to the Inception program, and right off the bat, you'll get some discounted graphics cards, you'll get some cloud credits, and we reach out to you, see how you're doing, see how we can help. If it's something we really want to get involved in, we'll point you to the right folks inside. If it's something we already see you can work better with another partner, we'll put you together there. So, you know, thinking back into the AlexNet moment, where we're catching innovation so early when it's just a very, very small team of 5 or 10 people, and then we're able to look at that and say, that is the future, that's what we're going to do. That's where I think we get to see literally 5 or 10 years into the future that nobody else gets to see. It's pretty amazing.
It's so cool. So check it.
Inception
program. And then the cool thing about your site for HP is you can literally go on there and configure, like a regular person can configure this like insanely powerful machine. So it really is bringing it all to the creator. Do we have